meeting Swami was like a very, very relieving feature for me. Being with Abu after so many for the last few months. It was so refreshing that he was very articulate, very clear on what are the things you should do, what are the schools you should avoid. Things like parents are the best therapists, so you'll have to work a routine, and that routine has to be very, very general in nature. You should be able to implement that routine whether you're outside in a restaurant, whether you go to a mall, whether you go to a park. So those are the kind of things that you should be able to do at home, and you should do it repeatedly. You do anything for 25-30 days, there is a good chance that that will become a habit forming feature for them as well. So it helps you internalize what you may already know, either through your experience or through reading. But he helps you internalize it so much that you really start thinking from the grassroots level. He had some solid recommendations about special needs schools. I mean, he knew which school, where, what would fit Abu's need just by spending 30 minutes with him, which I thought was phenomenal. And he said that for his ability, your focus should be only on two things. And for me, this was the highlight of that entire day, where he said, when you're finding a special needs school for your child, you need to consider only two things. One, the school should have students who are equal to or better than him in cognitive abilities, which means if you put him in a school where there are folks on severe side of the spectrum, that may not help him build cognitive abilities, and the school may not have the right resources to help him, which means you have to find a school that can work on his cognitive abilities, and the quorum, the classroom, has to have students equal or better than Abu in terms of IQ or cognitive abilities. And the second is on the behavioral abilities. The students of the class should be better in how they behave. For example, there is a child who's probably showing extreme signs of distress and tapping all the time on the table or on the wall, or that would suddenly, today Abu doesn't do that a lot, but if he's observing that behavior, he'll start thinking that is normal, and he will also start doing it. So you need to find a class that behaves equal to or better than Abu, so that Abu understands what better looks like. And I thought that was very, very useful insight, because as I step into exploring, and I already have met a few schools, special schools, and I also intend to meet a few special schools in the future, in the coming weeks. I'm going to look at it from this lens, and I thought this lens was probably not definitive in my head, but now I'm very, very clear on how to approach it. He also helped with a lot of reading material, documents, and said, start with these, don't progress directly to something, don't try too many things. Do one thing, like for example, PECS, Picture Exchange Communication Systems. Introduce that, because visually, apparently autistic kids are visually far more inclined to learn and materialize that learning into their daily lives. So introduce PECS to him. He also spoke a little bit about Avaz, the application that helps with alternate communication, and he knows that system very, very well. He knows the special educators who teach in that through that medium. So he said, let's not go so far yet. Let's probably explore it in this way. But I think that's his perspective also, and probably that's his reading of the room with Abu. So after spending time with him on that day, and the registration, he called me upon again, me and my wife, on Wednesday. So we spent a couple of hours on Wednesday again with him, where he took us through some of these in detail, gave us names of schools that I should be approaching who would fit his abilities. So for me, the best part about the week was meeting someone as knowledgeable and who can express it with such finesse and with details. I think that was my highlight for this week. Mr. Swami, he's a special educator with NIMHANS. He's a full-time employee. He does not consult outside. He's not allowed to, and neither does he do any online. So you have to meet him in NIMHANS only. That is on Wednesday, and then Thursday I was called back again. So the funny thing is, on Monday they treated me as an OPD patient. On Thursday I had to walk in again to the CAP 200 department and meet a new doctor, and I had to explain the whole thing all over again, to this new doctor. And luckily, he was less biased than the other one. He was more practical and perhaps a little more experienced than the previous doctor I met. And he made a lot of notes. He asked a lot of questions on behavior, on cognitive abilities, etc. So it was better experience for me meeting this doctor compared to the previous on that day. But then the process was same. So I found it repetitive in some way. We could have created the entire file and pursued that into a proper clinical assessment on Monday itself. Why do it all over on Thursday? And then the entire wait, I waited from 8 o'clock and I probably finished by around 3:30. So it's quite a lot of wait. And then headed back. So that was on Thursday. My and by the way, I've still not yet met the speech department. I have not met the OT. I have all the referral forms, thinking twice whether I should meet them. But by the end of it, this week, I have number one, been given a date for a full-fledged assessment as 8th December 2025. Yeah, 10 months from now. That's when the date has been given to me for a full-fledged assessment. That also shows the amount of cases that are lined up, where a proper clinical psychological evaluation needs to be done. So of course they may have some cancellations in between, so I did ask them to bump me up in case something comes up because I live close by to NIMHANS. So that is one. Two is meeting Swami. It was a phenomenal experience meeting him. And three is I've got a list of special needs schools and individuals I have to meet in the coming weeks, so I plan to do that. So, well, that's that. An update on NIMHANS from me. I'll come back to you more on what am I doing, which are the schools, who are the people I've met, who are the people I intend to meet, and let's see where that goes. Thank you.